Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We are here with Ben Beard of Farley Insurance. Good friend of ours, plays good golf too.
Thank you, sir.
So wanted to talk briefly. I'm a roofer, obviously.
Yep.
Hence all the topics. But wanted to talk briefly about insurance, different types of coverages, what they mean, all that kind of stuff, because I get our insurance policies and look over it and it's like Chinese.
Yep. And
I do understand certain parts, like I need this much liability, this much umbrella, this much on my workers' comp, but especially on the homeowner side, whether homeowner or auto, what are some of the big coverages or definitions out there? They're always a question mark of what does this even mean?
Yep, absolutely. And as an independent broker, the biggest way to sum it up is you got to know your options.
Yep.
And part of that is knowing your options in terms of what you're paying with rate. Yep. So as a broker, we've got a bunch of different companies we can quote that with, and that's price point is the most important to the customer. But what we're really concerned with outside of saving people money is what your coverages are. So knowing your options and your coverages, and that's what you're alluding to. So the biggest thing that we do, I think that most insurance agents should do, is ask questions. So we'll ask our clients, do you know what this coverage means?
And why you want it.
Yeah, right. And 9 times out of 10, they're unsure of what that actually means. And just like any bill, you're paying it, and you want to know what you're getting. Because when you need to use insurance, you want to know that it's covered,
right? Or
if it's not covered. So with the biggest question we get with car insurance is everybody knows you need liability insurance.
Yep.
That's what you're required to have. There's a bunch of different coverage options in terms of how much liability coverage to have. And then outside of that, the second part of car insurance is the part 2 or full coverage is what is the short term for it. And that breaks down to essentially comprehensive and collision coverage.
Right, so it doesn't just cover the other person, it covers me too.
Comprehensive and collision is covering the actual vehicle. So the liability portion is covering protecting everybody else against you, essentially. And then you've got also what's called uninsured, underinsured motorist, and that's protecting you against somebody else that may have a really bad insurance policy. Right. But then the second part of it, that comprehensive and collision, that's what people think they're required to have if they have a loan. I have to get this coverage because I have a loan. Yes, you do, but the easiest way to explain it, comprehensive coverage is your bad luck stuff.
Yep.
So hailstorm dents your car up, you hit a deer, you get a chip in your windshield, your car is stolen. Those are things that are completely out of your control.
Yep.
Those would fall under comprehensive coverage.
And they're not covered on just the liability policy.
Right. If you got liability only, you're essentially just insuring protection.
Other people.
Right. So the comprehensive and collision is covering the actual vehicle.
Yep.
So the comprehensive, that's bad luck stuff. You didn't mean for it to happen. You hit a deer, it ran out in front of you. That would be comprehensive. The collision is where there's some sort of fault. So you ran into the back of somebody, you turned too quick and hit your mailbox, things like that. If you run into a big pothole and it causes damage to your axle or something like that, those are collision coverages. And the biggest thing that I go back to knowing your options is people think that raising those deductibles save them a lot of money. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it doesn't. So we like to give our customers options and say, hey, this is what this deductible would be for a comprehensive, because these things are bad luck.
Yep.
So it would be a double-edged sword if I had to pay a $500 deductible to fix a deer running out in front of me and get that fixed. So here's an option for $500. Here's an option for no deductible out of pocket. So those are the biggest keys in explaining to customers what those coverages mean, and then what the cost differences are when you're quoting those out with all of your carriers.
And there's even additional things, because I remember one of the things you educated me on that I never thought of before was forget the technical term, was like a personal injury rider on the coverage, where because your liability and your comprehensive cap out at X amount of dollars, but it's only a few more dollars to add another $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 of coverage.
Yeah, so what you're alluding to, I think, is medical payments. Yep. So you can include medical payments on your policy, and essentially medical payments are covering injury to you if you have to go to the hospital because of a car accident. Yep. So, and in today's health insurance market, a lot of people have really high deductibles on their health insurance. So I like to tell customers, hey, what is your deductible on your medical insurance? Because if you get in a car accident and your out-of-pocket deductible is $10,000, if you're injured as a result of a car accident, those medical payments will go to you or anybody injured in your car to help pay for any out-of-pocket medical cost. And that's not a really expensive coverage, and that really helps you out too if you've got those really high health insurance deductibles.
Correct.
To add that to your policy. So those are called medical payments.
Yep. So, and we've talked about this before when you were on, but having a broker, specifically what you're talking about, having the ability to first educate your client, figure out what exactly they're looking for, and then look at the different companies, your client's situation, their criteria, what they're trying to insure, and then which company meets their criteria the best. You can get a whole lot better end product for the best price possible. And that's the key is we're not concerned with having to put a customer with a certain company, because we don't have direct ties with anybody. What we're concerned with is making sure the customer's educated and they're getting the correct coverage for what they need. But with as many companies as we have, obviously we can save people money too. Every company is different in their underwriting standards. Not everybody fits into each company's box. So if you've got DUIs, accidents, teenage drivers, that's the benefit of having a bunch of different carriers to quote that with. Each company treats it differently.
Everybody treats that differently. And then if you do have those car accidents, every company can surcharge differently. So you may see a company really, really raise your rates. You may see some other companies not raise it as much. So we've got that ability to move customers and quote them with a bunch of different carriers, but it's more important to make sure they know what they're paying for. And that's where it comes down to knowing your options with your coverages and making sure people understand all that.
And I've seen on the personal side, not necessarily business, but I've seen our coverage, especially on auto, from one company to another, more than double for the exact same coverage based off of criteria and those sorts of things, which is insane.
And that's the benefit of having a bunch of different options, is we can sort of eliminate that headache. And make sure people are getting a good rate, but like I said, they know what they're paying for, and that's more important than saving people money, is knowing that they're educated, they're covered, they're educated, and they know what they're actually paying. Because if you're
spending money on something, you want to make sure you're actually getting value out of it versus I just have this because I have a loan and don't know what it covers.
Exactly.
And working with a certain company rep, they're only going to push their product and try to put it in the best possible light to sell you their product, not find. That'd be like if we were like, all right, we just sell Owens Corning this, and no matter what type of roof you have, what application, we're going to do this one product. It's not any one product from any one manufacturer isn't applicable to every situation, whether it's the pitches or because we have flat roofs, you don't put shingle on something low slope because it's going to leak. So it's the same. We have a ton of products. We can figure out what fits you, just like broker, you can figure out what fits the person.
And it eliminates the sales part of it. So if I have one product, I'm going to try to convince you that this is the product you need.
Your energy goes into making this product fit the person versus making your energy as a broker is going into figuring out which product fits the person, not vice versa.
And in the end, the customer is going to save money. They're going to be in the situation that's right for their situation. And you're doing what's in the best interest of the company and not what's in the best interest of you as the salesperson. What
would you recommend? I think you may have told me this prior. Would you recommend revisiting your policy? How often?
Every 2 to 3 years. Every year you start getting pigeonholes because companies can see if you're switching insurance a lot. So they'll ding you for that. But every 2 to 3 years, it's good to reevaluate your coverage. Your car may get older. You may not need that full coverage. You may have an addition to your house, so you may need to make some changes to your homeowner's insurance. So every 2 to 3 years is a good rule of thumb to reevaluate everything, requote it, and make sure you're still getting the best deal for your situation.
Because they can change their product offerings and criteria as well, and they just send you a letter, hey, this stuff's changed.
Exactly.
Cool. I feel educated.
That's what we're here for.
Well, cool. Appreciate you being on.
Absolutely.
As always, we'll link up all of his information. If you need insurance, talk to him. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching this episode. Give it a like. Let us know what you thought in the comments down there. Share it if you feel so inclined. If you really like to go to our page under follow, click see first. That way you never miss a video. See it as soon as it comes out. And we'll see you on the next episode.